Gavin, do you want to get into the TYT announcement that they made, or do you want to react to some of this cringiness of Anna Kasparian gabbing with Megyn Kelly?
Yeah, let's take a look at this. Anna Kasparian, continuing her right-wing media outreach, her tour, and talking to Megyn Kelly once again, one of the most boring, fucking forgettable idiots in all of right-wing media. Someone who desperately wants everyone to forget about the fact that she was actually originally antagonistic towards Trump and was humiliated by him, only to then again humiliate herself by bending the knee and pretending like none of that ever happened, and pretending that Donald Trump didn't imply that she only asked tough questions at the debate because she was on her period and shit like that. Like, it's crazy. It's deeply fucking, just pathetic in my opinion. The fact that Megyn Kelly now grovels so much to Trump and MAGA.
The only thing I find more pathetic than that is that now Anna Kasparian has gone to grovel to Megyn Kelly.
I'm going to be honest about the fact that the attention to that issue, I think, actually hurt Republicans who had more of a moral high ground on the issue of immigration at that time. And so it gave Democrats something to attack the Trump administration on legitimately at a time when I think, I'm not the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, at a time when I think the Trump campaign actually did have a legitimate point about what had happened with the border and undocumented immigration under the Biden administration.
Which is funny because, sorry to cut you off, but it was funny because Donald Trump, it's not like that diagnosis of the situation, like his grand fucking immigration message came about as a result of Biden's administration. He was talking about building the wall when he ran for president the first time back in 2015, 2016. Like, that wasn't in no way a result of Biden's policy. That's been his message from day one, just being an anti-immigrant, fucking xenophobic piece of shit.
And not only that, Gavin, the critique of Joe Biden's border policy is that it was the exact same one as Donald Trump. Well, I mean, how many years into Joe Biden's presidency was he still enforcing Title 42 at the border, not allowing people to seek asylum, not allowing people to flee and practice their fucking God-given right as fleeing individuals, and the Constitution recognizes that, or it was supposed to. They stopped doing that during COVID-19, and Joe Biden went months and months and months, I believe years after he was sworn into office, still imposing Title 42 restrictions on asylum. He was deporting people left and right. They were running ads constantly about how they were going to militarize the border even more under Kamala Harris than they did under Joe Biden. What the fuck are you talking about, Anna? When we were in the build-up to the election, you were talking about how Donald Trump was only interested in deporting criminals. You were talking about how his deportation policy was no different than Bill Clinton. Oh, Bill Clinton also did this stuff with Asia. Do you remember? You were lying. You were lying to your audience. You were saying Donald Trump's not going to deport your neighbor. He's not going to deport the woman that works down the street that's been selling you tacos at her truck for the last 10 years. No. He's only going to come after the Tren de Aragua guys and places like Aurora, Colorado, where they're just terrorizing folks. Those are the people that Donald Trump's going to go after. That was all a lie, and now you're completely moving the goalpost.
Yep, the Tren de Aragua people that Anna spent so many segments warning us about, and reminding us how legitimate and real and totally not made up that threat was.
One person from Tren de Aragua was found at that apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
They had taken it over.
Crazy.
That one person single-handedly took it over.
You hear what I'm saying? And this is the thing that drives me crazy about, like, some, not all, but some Democratic voters, where they will latch onto one lie, right, about people eating cats and dogs to delegitimize a very legitimate issue that various communities across the country were grappling with without any real support or help from the federal government.
And again, those immigrants were fucking legal. So she's talking about the lie as in them being dog and cat eaters. The lie was that, for one, they were at all dangerous. And the two, they were somehow there without proper documentation or legal status. Those were the two fucking lies that should have seriously been addressed. The dog and cat thing, I mean, obviously, yeah, that too. But to act like, oh, that's where the Republican Party went wrong when it came to speaking about that situation, to act like that was the only issue there, that's crazy, and that's just revealing the fact that you, Anna Kasparian, think that it is an issue that there are legal immigrants from Haiti living in a community in Ohio. That's a self-report. You think that's an issue.
100%, and we covered it at the time. That was actually a Rust Belt revitalization story, right? It was actually an inspiring story of those Haitian immigrants who had come to America, to a part of Ohio that had been downtrodden, that had been deindustrialized, that had lost all of its work thanks to the auto industry getting offshored, right? And here comes a group of people who are devoutly Christian, that participate in local church activities, that actually started to enrich and breathe life back into this community that was so downtrodden.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, that's how it almost always is when it comes to these like quote unquote influxes of scary black people into some small white community. Like there was I'm pretty sure it was Gardner, Kansas. I forget exactly, but I remember watching a short documentary 5-10 years ago about how I think, and I might have the details wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a large Somali community there that immigrated there, and guess what? Fucking jobs they quote unquote stole. Almost all those people in Gardner work at like a fucking meat packing plant. One of the most exploitative, dangerous fucking lines of work that basically no white boy like me or you would ever fucking sign up to do. You know what I'm saying? Those are the fucking jobs that those people are taking. The ones that white people aren't even applying for, again, because they wouldn't even consider doing that horrible, dangerous, traumatizing work, right? That's the jobs that these immigrants, take. And instead of celebrating their fucking contributions to society, they get fear-mongered about by people like Anna Kasparian. That's fucking crazy. No, that was not a legitimate issue for the Republicans to hone in on, or for them to bring up, or for them to fear-monger about. No, that was just fucking racism. And you should be celebrating these people's inclusion in our society and, frankly, advocating for their rights so they don't have to only take shitty, dangerous, filthy, traumatizing jobs like working in slaughterhouses and meat packing plants.
100%.
The Biden administration. So again, I thought that was a bad move by the Trump campaign. That being said, okay, so you got briefed on it. I don't remember her having an incredibly powerful response to Trump's statement there.
No,
now,
I think it was the moderators.
Right, exactly. The moderators were the ones who, if I remember correctly, weighed in on that.
And then we've got one more here from Anna, where she doubles down on why, immigration was a problem. Trump did run on policy proposals, whether it's tariffs, immigration, cost of living. Anyway, you can hear it from the horse's mouth just a little bit more.
So immigration was a problem. In fact, poll after poll after poll indicated that the vast majority of Americans had that as one of their policy priorities, along with the cost of living.
You know why that is? It's not because your average American is fucking negatively impacted by immigrants at all. Most people, maybe if you live 10 miles across from the border or something, it's like an issue in your life in some way. I don't fucking know. Maybe like there's a lot of undocumented people at the hospital or something, and they like you aren't able to get in as quickly as you'd like. Like I've heard about those kind of horror stories. I'm not denying that shit happens, but 95% of Americans in no way are negatively impacted by immigrants being here, by immigrant communities, unless you're just racist and don't like seeing people that aren't white. No, it does not.
Which Anna has claimed to be uncomfortable around non-white people, which is crazy.
100%. Also, I just lost my train of thought. What were they in the middle of saying?
Oh, nothing. Just that immigration was a serious issue, and you were making the point that the reason that most people, fall for it is because it's constantly fucking messaged to them. Yes. I would imagine.
Yes. Not only is it constantly messaged to them by the Republicans who've realized that it's a great way to instill fear in their in the people, which is a good motivation to get them to vote, right? So it's messaged constantly. People are constantly hearing about the dangers, quote unquote, dangers of immigration. But also the reason why it became like that is because under the Joe Biden administration, Joe Biden wasn't able to fucking defend any of his policy decisions. He wasn't able to defend anything because he wasn't able to communicate, period. It's why something that was popular, the withdrawal of Afghanistan, got turned into something unpopular under Joe Biden. Any president with the communicative abilities, if Barack Obama, for example, had done that, or even Donald Trump, no matter what the media had said, they would have been able to make it popular because they're good enough communicators and they're fucking, good enough politicians.
We may have never had Donald Trump, not to interrupt you, but if Barack Obama had actually gotten out of Afghanistan, like you mentioned, which he promised to, there's a solid chance we never even would have gotten Trump one.
Exactly. 100%. But again, because of the fact that Joe Biden couldn't communicate shit, let alone defend his own policy agenda or anything that happened under him, no, He totally ceded that to the right wing. And if anything, he contributed to it by trying to pass that fascist border bill. He basically caved and said they're right about this being an issue. But that's why Americans, turned on the immigrant issue. That's the only reason why, not because their actual lives are negatively impacted by immigrants. I mean, Anna's life isn't, obviously. Like, can you tell me a way, Anna Kasparian, that your life has been negatively impacted by immigrants in your area? Like, that's ridiculous.
Living. And so if you don't have a real policy that you're going to promote as part of your campaign, and you're just going to lean into more of the identity politics,
And that was a problem.
I got some news for you. Like, American voters are sick of that. They're sick of the theater. They need real solutions. And I think that Trump did run on policy proposals, what he wants to do, whether it's the tariffs, immigration, cost of living situation, not looking very great right now under the Trump administration.
There wouldn't be any problem with this fucking analysis for the most part if she wasn't pandering to Megyn Kelly's disgusting racist audience, and by refusing to acknowledge that the way Trump won was by weaponizing racist talking points against our fellow neighbors and our fellow Americans. She can't say that because Megyn Kelly's audience would be triggered by it. They'd all call Anna racist. So she has to make this like stupid, like faux intellectual bullshit speech, which again contains some nuggets of truth, like about how terrible Kamala's campaign was. But she can't actually be honest about the tactics that Trump's really weaponized shamelessly against, Americans to get elected. You can't have this discussion without being honest about the Nazi-like fervor that Donald Trump instilled in a huge faction of this country, convincing them that this immigrant invasion was poisoning the blood of the country, and not just immigrants, but the enemy from within, talking about his political opponents, Democrats. I mean, this is crazy to not call that out and to not say that, yeah, Trump was successful with this rhetoric, but this rhetoric is fascist. It's dangerous. It's hateful. It's bigoted, and it's completely inappropriate in a civilized first world democracy like America. I mean, for her to not include that analysis, it tells you everything you need to know about who she's pandering to, and the fact that she just wants to give it credit without actually calling it out. I think that's pretty telling.
100%. And we have to remind everyone, Gavin, this is how Anna Kasparian felt about Donald Trump's plans. This is what she, felt in her heart about the policies that she was just referencing on immigration.
I supported what Trump claimed he was going to do with immigration when he was campaigning. But what we have seen...
You supported that? You heard they're eating the cats and the dogs. They're poisoning the blood of our nation. We have to get rid of all of these people. And you supported that? You didn't understand when he said that he was going to rapidly increase deportations, that he was going to come out and use the National Guard, all the things that he threatened to do when he was campaigning. He literally said all of this stuff. Gavin and I, sometimes we have to touch base with one another because people will gaslight you. And I'll be like, I thought we came out like eight months before the election when Donald Trump said some crazy shit about that. And we were like, guys, we cannot let Donald Trump win. I don't care about anything else. Yes, I sound like a Karen. Call me a shit lib. Call me a libtard. Call me whatever you want. Donald Trump cannot be president again. And Gavin and I came out here every single day and we said, the Democrats have to win. This is fascism on the horizon. I'm sorry you don't like Kamala Harris, but this is what we need to fucking do to stop this because of the laundry list of terrifying things Donald Trump was promising to do on the campaign trail. What I cannot get behind or understand at all is how people warped their brain into thinking what he was promising on the campaign trail was reasonable. And what we've now got is some departure from that, because to me, it seems like he's delivering on all of the evil, horrible shit that he said he was going to do when he was running.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, that was not the only instance of Anna Kasparian, totally downplaying Trump's actual plans. Who can forget this banger? Trump's plan is not Project 2025, where Anna sat there and lectured all of us hysterical liberals about how, we were just so crazy. We just had Trump derangement syndrome. Whatever you think of Trump, he's been very clear about the fact that Project 2025 is not his plan. Just completely brain dead, idiotic propaganda. And in the same way, acting like, I supported what Trump said he was going to do with immigration. Not all this crazy shit. The dude ran on mass deportations. That was his fucking language. That wasn't like his supporters' language. That was his fucking language. And as I mentioned, even before the failed border policies of Joe Biden, Trump's whole shtick was building a fucking wall and keeping out all the brown people, doing a Muslim travel ban, deporting people to countries they didn't even fucking come from.
putting them in concentration camps.
Yup, separating children from their fucking parents. Like that is his whole political project since day one, before the failed policies of Joe Biden. And you still want to run cover for it and act like, oh, he had some good ideas, and I supported his the essence of his mission. You supported fucking fascism and Nazism. Like what the fuck? You supported shipping innocent people and children to concentration camps? Like what? That you supported that? I didn't support that. There are some arguments for people like, normies supporting Trump that I can wrap my head around. Like, there are some people that genuinely, truly were convinced that Trump was at least going to try to end the Russia-Ukraine war on day one. Or like I heard some people, normies in my life, anecdotally, that were like, yeah, I thought he might really wrap up the war. He might really be a pro-peace president. It's crazy to believe that people would think that, but people did. The immigration thing, you're going to trust him on that? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you have to be a child. You have to be 3 years old to believe that his project was anything other than fascist, Nazi-style, deportations of undesirables.
100%. I completely agree. And all of this, guys, is pretext, right? For the fact that now one of the number one collaborators with TYT is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, how many times over the last 6 months, Gavin, has Cenk tweeted about fawning praise of Marjorie Taylor Greene, invited her on for softball interviews, run cover, and talked about how great she's looked and snippets, right? I mean, that is the, I don't know what you would want to call it, the coalition that TYT is trying to build nowadays. It's between Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly, Lindy Lee, Dr. Phil, who has gone bankrupt. We didn't even have time to cover that because there's been so much going on. They tried to get in the bed with Dr. Phil, who we both thought was, gearing up to run for office. Unfortunately, it all backfired on him, and now his fake network that never got any engagement is bankrupt. And he's like, holy shit, I even went and got completely in the tank for Donald Trump, and it still didn't work out for me, just like Anna Kasparian and Cenk. But what is just continuing to blow my mind, not just the grifts that he's doing, not just his commitment to getting people to come up with ideas for new ways to enrich him and putting zero thought or follow through in it, like his Wolfpack revolution that he's working on, right? Now, apparently, Marjorie Taylor Greene is officially joining ranks with his new revolutionary project.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if, to be honest, I didn't even get far enough into this video to find out the degree to which she's truly joining the revolution, but I think she tweeted in support of it or something. She's not actually on this episode, but as you can see here, let me.
All right, exciting news in the revolution front.
Oh God, we got to hear that one more time.
All right, exciting news in the revolution front. So
the revolution front. Either way, Marjorie Taylor Greene, joining the revolution. And again, I've said it before, I'll give credit to Marjorie where it's due. I'm not with the shutdown thing, I appreciate her essentially siding with the Democrats and calling out Trump for the shutdown. But again, if you're a so-called progressive news network and your whole fucking shtick at this point is just giving credit to Marjorie Taylor Greene and giving credit to freaking Tucker Carlson and stuff like that, I do think it's pretty fucking cringe, and that's seemingly a bulk of the material coming out of this network these days.
100%. And I also want people to understand Marjorie Taylor Greene is a liar and a fraud. If you guys thought for 1 second you could trust this woman further than you can throw her, you cannot. Okay, she will talk out of one side of her mouth and walk in another side out of her other side of her mouth. She'll talk about how we have to do things with congressional stock bans, right? She loves to give lip service to that. She'll talk, we have to ban congressional stock trading. Well, it hasn't stopped you from going out and trading like a motherfucker, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at this right here. So if you look at congressional stock trading, who trades and makes the most? 2 of the top 10 people are going to be involved with the TYT's new revolutionary fucking project, which I just think is crazy, right? Obviously, we all know about Ro Khanna. He constantly denies that there's any wrongdoing involved in this and that it's all his wife's money and that he couldn't possibly stop it even if he wanted to. And then just down here, number 8, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who it is worth noting was broke when she got into Congress. Right now, she's worth 3 points.
I don't think she was broke. Because one time I tried to say that and then people pushed back and they were like, actually, she was a millionaire.
Really? Because from what I've seen, her net worth has skyrocketed.
I mean, I'm sure it has skyrocketed, but I don't think she was broke. I do think she did have money when she got elected. Not crazy money.
Because
But
when
do
I was
think-
looking at it, it showed that she was not very, very well invested before.
Well, someone in chat let us know, because I heard that she did have a bit, like she was a business owning American who had was in a millionaire status. But either way,
I mean, yeah, and also we should know that there's a big difference between owning a business that's worth $1 million and then having $3.7 million in stock trades going on.
for sure. I'm just saying that doesn't make you broke.
Well, I mean, if you own a $1 million business, I don't know, the valuations are weird. You could still be making like $100,000 off of a year. So I guess that's not broke, but that's not playing with $3.7 million worth of stock trades, 228 trades
Right.
on the year.
That's why I said she was not crazy rich, but she's also not broke, which again is something that I was corrected by chat one time, because I was like, she's actually a MAGA working class type of person when she got elected, and then people corrected me. But either way,
Interesting. People are saying it was a construction company. Interesting. Long story short, she's made a lot of fucking money since she took office 7 years ago, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene bought stock before market jumped on the tariff pause. And I remember watching this day of, if you guys remember back in April, the entire stock exchange just was obliterated by Donald Trump's tariff announcement. And very few people did well on that outside of Donald Trump's personal inner circle. One of the people that did very, very well, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She did so well that she was scrutinized for it at her own town hall. These are a bunch of Marjorie Taylor Greene fans. They brought up her stock trades because it's so and it's just so opposite to how she presents herself, right? As somebody who wants to really clamp down on the Nancy Pelosi stock trading frauds, right? And then here was another one where she was disrupted by Jasmine Crockett over her stock buying in the addition, or right in the lead up to the 90-day tariff pause.
yeah, I think she might have got a bunch of Palantir stock from what I remember, and then I think she might have blamed her son or something. She was like, "Oh, that was my son doing it," or something. But it's like, that's still fucking corrupt to let your family leech off of your like insider knowledge and stuff. It's crazy.
100%. And it's also illegal to rely on your family for insider knowledge. So that could have been a confession to a crime if we were going to prosecute it. I also remember she tweeted out her son's Venmo on like his 21st birthday and was like, "Give money to my son," which is 100% illegal. And she had to delete it immediately. Right. So I'm just saying, this is a really sus woman for, and to just show you guys one example out of a bunch. Like, she comes out here and she fronts one way and then walks in a completely different direction. And I just think it's very interesting that this money grubbing whore, Cenk Uygur, has decided to get in bed with the two.
I thought you were talking about Marjorie at first. I was like, chill, bro.
No,
That's sensitive. Let's be sensitive here with the gendered language.
I was talking about Jake. Two of the top 10 most, most trading. I don't know, of the two of the top 10 most frequent traders in terms of volume and trade in all of Congress. Like, that's just going to be tough to sell, that those are the two people who want to lead a revolution with you to ban stock trading.
Yeah, 100%. And also let's remember that, while TYT heaps praise on Marjorie Taylor Greene, keeps having her back on, keeps celebrating her for when the broken clock is right twice a day, right? They can't wait to give her credit for that. But what was their last commentary on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? It was woke scolding her for calling Stephen Miller short. I'm not even kidding. Go watch our recent video on it. It was shocking how they literally were just like pearl clutching and woke scolding and acting super offended because AOC went on an off the cuff, rant where she roasted Stephen Miller and talked about how MAGA is full of insecure, weak men, which it is. That's accurate, but they still pearl clutched and act like, oh, this is really going to offend voters and short people. Do you really want to lose the short person demographic, AOC? Like that's the level of fucking crap they were peddling when it came to AOC. Again, nothing but nitpicking garbage. But I haven't seen any criticisms of MTG lately. It seems like nothing but bloviating fucking praise.
Yep. And also, Gavin, thank you so much for reminding me of that, because what they criticized AOC for, guess who did the exact same thing? The far-right U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is further distancing herself from fellow Republicans and accusing men in her party of being, quote, weak. Didn't hear anything about that on the Young Turks.
Wow.
It's absolutely insane. And this is not an old article. This is from the 14th of October, 6 days ago.
I'm deeply offended.
Yeah.
I'm very offended. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, and when it comes to Marjorie, I very much view her the same way I view like a Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is like one of those guys. Obviously, he's no longer elected. But when he was like, he was a troublemaker. You know, he would bring the ruckus, and I would give him credit for that and appreciate it. You know, he did the like whole force the vote thing where he like held up, you know, Kevin McCarthy, and like he caused a ruckus. You know, sometimes he would. I don't think he took any corporate PAC money, which was, you know, that was good. We gave him credit for that, and he called out Israel. And basically, that's the same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So you can give him credit for that stuff. You can give him credit for being a little bit of a troublemaker, for, you know, bringing the ruckus to their side of the aisle. But we don't have to like hold them up as these revolutionaries that we have to work with in order to bring down the establishment. Like, yeah, we'll work with them when we have to. But chill out. You're a little bit eager, bro. You're a little bit eager to, you know, sing kumbaya with Republicans who agree with you on 5% of the issues. Aww.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.